Captain Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the Wanderer and stared at the screen. Something was out there in the darkness of space. Something was calling for help. "Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal," Ben Carter said from his seat. He was the ship's pilot and navigator. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's weak, but it's definitely there." Jack walked closer to look at the readings. The Wanderer was a small exploration ship. Only 5 people worked on it. They were supposed to be mapping this area of space, not looking for trouble. "Can you tell what it is?" Jack asked. Ben shook his head. "No, sir. The signal is strange. I've never seen anything like it. It's not human. That's for sure." Lisa Chen looked up from her station. She was the ship's doctor and scientist. "If it's calling for help, someone might be dying out there," she said quietly. Jack knew she was right. But he also knew the rules. They were not supposed to investigate unknown signals. It could be dangerous. It could be a trap. The company that owned the Wanderer would be angry if he broke the rules. He thought about it for a moment. Then he made his decision. "Ben, change our course. Take us to that signal," Jack said. Kyle Sanders, the first officer, turned in his chair. "Captain, are you sure? We don't know what's out there. It could be anything." "Someone needs help, Kyle," Jack said simply. "We're going." Megan Torres, the ship's engineer, smiled a little. She liked working with a captain who cared about doing the right thing. It took them 2 hours to reach the source of the signal. When they got close, they could see it on their screens. It was a small pod, floating alone in the dark. It looked damaged. Parts of it were burned and broken. "It's an escape pod," Ben said. "Looks like it's been out here for a while." "Any life signs?" Jack asked. Lisa checked her instruments. She waited, and then her eyes went wide. "Yes. There's someone inside. The readings are faint, but someone is alive in there." "Bring it into the cargo bay," Jack ordered. "Lisa, get the medical bay ready. Megan, help her. Kyle, you're with me. We're going to open that pod." The crew moved quickly. Ben used the ship's mechanical arms to pull the pod inside. When it was safe in the cargo bay, Jack and Kyle put on their suits and went to look at it. The pod was covered in strange writing. Jack had never seen anything like it. The metal was dark and smooth, with patterns that seemed to glow faintly. "This is alien technology," Kyle said. "I don't recognize it." "Can we open it?" Jack asked. Kyle studied the pod for a minute. Then he found what looked like a release panel. He pressed it carefully. The pod made a hissing sound and slowly opened. Inside was a young girl. At least, she looked like a girl, but she was clearly not human. Her skin was covered in beautiful crystal patterns that glowed softly. She had dark green scales on her arms and face. Her eyes were closed, and she was very still. "Lisa, we need you in the cargo bay right now," Jack called over the radio. Lisa came running with her medical equipment. When she saw the alien girl, she stopped for just a second. Then, her training took over. "Help me move her to the medical bay," she said, carefully. "I don't know how hurt she is." They carried the girl as gently as they could. She was light, much lighter than a human would be. Jack could see that she was breathing, but just barely. Her skin felt cool to the touch. In the medical bay, Lisa began working immediately. She had to figure out how to help someone whose body she didn't understand. She scanned the girl. With every tool she had, she studied the readings and tried to make sense of them. "She's been in that pod for a long time," Lisa said. "Maybe 3 weeks. She's dehydrated. She has infections. Some of her wounds are very bad. I don't even know what she needs to survive." "Do your best," Jack said quietly. "That's all we can ask." Lisa worked for hours. She gave the girl fluids. She cleaned her wounds. She tried different medicines, watching carefully to see what worked. The girl never woke up. But slowly, very slowly, her breathing became a little stronger. While Lisa worked, Ben searched through what was left of the pod's computer. Most of the data was damaged, but he found some things. "Captain, you should see this," Ben called. "I found some information." This pod came from a ship called the Star of Velkar. According to these records, the ship was attacked. There was a battle. This pod was launched during the fight. "How long ago?" Jack asked. "Almost 3 weeks," Ben said. "The poor kid has been floating out here all this time. Alone. And hurt." Jack looked at the screens showing the debris field they had found. Pieces of the destroyed ship floated in space. Whoever had attacked the girl's ship had been thorough. Nothing was left. "There's more," Ben continued. "I found some symbols that might be a name or a title. I can't read the language, but the computer thinks this girl is someone important. Maybe royalty or something." In the medical bay, Lisa finally stepped back from her patient. She looked exhausted. "I think I've done everything I can," she said. "I've stabilized her. But I don't know if it will be enough. Her body is so different from ours. I'm just guessing at what she needs." Jack put a hand on Lisa's shoulder. "You did great. Now we wait and hope." "What do we do now?" Kyle asked. "We have an alien on our ship. We don't know who she is or where she came from. Do we even know if her people are friendly?" "We saved her life," Jack said. "That's what matters right now. Tomorrow we'll worry about the rest." That night, Jack sent a message into space. He used the symbols Ben had found from the pod. He didn't know if anyone would receive it. He didn't know if anyone would care. But he had to try. The message was simple. "We found your escape pod. We have a survivor. She is hurt, but alive. Please respond." Then he sat by the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, this girl had a family. They probably thought she was dead. They were probably mourning her right now. Jack knew what that felt like. He had lost his own daughter years ago. He knew the pain of thinking someone you loved was gone forever. He made a silent promise. He would do everything he could to get this girl home, no matter what it took. In the medical bay, the alien girl lay still. The crystal patterns on her skin glowed softly in the darkness. She was dreaming of home, of her mother's voice, of warmth and safety. She didn't know it yet, but she was safe now. She had been found by people who would risk everything to protect her. Her long journey was not over, but the worst part was behind her. Because humans, for all their flaws, had one quality that made them special. When they saw someone who needed help, they helped. It was as simple as that. 3 days passed before the alien girl opened her eyes. Lisa was checking her vital signs when it happened. One moment the girl was still and quiet. The next moment her eyes snapped open, glowing bright yellow with fear. She sat up fast and looked around wildly. When she saw Lisa standing there, she made a sound like a hiss. The crystal patterns on her skin turned sharp red. "It's okay," Lisa said softly, holding up her hands. "You're safe. I won't hurt you." But the girl didn't understand. She tried to get off the bed, but her legs were too weak. She fell, and Lisa rushed to catch her. The girl fought against her. She was scared and confused. She didn't know where she was or who these strange creatures were. "Jack, I need help in here," Lisa called out. Jack came running. He saw the situation immediately. The girl was terrified, treating them like enemies. "Everyone out," Jack said calmly. "Give her space." Lisa hesitated, but she trusted Jack. She left the room. Kyle and Megan, who had come to see what was wrong, also stepped back. Jack walked slowly into the medical bay. He kept his hands where the girl could see them. He didn't carry any weapons. He moved carefully, like someone approaching a frightened animal. "Hello," he said quietly. "My name is Jack. We found you in space. You were hurt. We brought you here to help you." The girl watched him with wide eyes. She didn't understand his words, but she could hear his tone. It was gentle, non-threatening. Jack sat down on the floor, making himself smaller and less scary. He was still several feet away from her. "You're safe here," he continued talking, even though he knew she couldn't understand. "Nobody is going to hurt you. I promise. The girl's breathing slowed a little. The red in her crystal patterns faded to orange, then yellow. She was still afraid, but not as much. Jack stayed there, sitting quietly, for almost an hour. He just let her get used to him. Finally, the girl's patterns turned to a soft blue color. Her eyes stopped glowing so brightly. Lisa, Jack called softly. Bring the translator unit. Move slowly. Lisa came back in, walking carefully. She held a small device that the ship used to communicate with other species. It wasn't perfect, but it might help. She set it on the floor between Jack and the girl, then backed away again. Jack pointed to the device. This can help us talk to each other, he said. The device made beeping sounds as it tried to understand and translate. After a moment, it began to speak in a strange, musical language. The girl's eyes went wide. She looked at the device, then at Jack. Jack spoke again. What is your name? The translator did its work. The girl listened, and then she spoke. Her voice was soft and had a singing quality to it. The translator worked to translate her words. I am Zira-eth, it said in a mechanical voice. Zira-eth, Jack repeated, trying to say it correctly. That's a beautiful name. I'm Jack. We want to help you, Zira-eth. Can you tell us what happened to you? Over the next hour, they talked. It was slow and difficult. The translator wasn't perfect, and sometimes they had to repeat things several times. But slowly, Zira-eth told her story. She was a princess. Her mother was Queen Varasin, ruler of the Velkari people. Zira-eth had been traveling with guards when their ship was attacked by raiders, bad people who steal and kill for profit. The guards had fought to protect her. They had put her in the escape pod and launched it while they held off the attackers. Zira-eth had watched through the pod's window as her ship exploded. Everyone she knew had died. She had been alone in the pod for weeks. No food. Little water. Hurt. And scared. She thought she was going to die out there in the darkness. As she spoke, tears began to fall from her eyes. They weren't like human tears. They glowed slightly, like tiny stars running down her face. I thought no one would find me, she said through the translator. I thought I would die alone. Lisa couldn't help herself. She came closer and sat down next to Zira-eth. She reached out slowly and took the girl's hand. You're not alone anymore, Lisa said gently. Zira-eth looked at her in surprise. Among her people, touching was very personal. You only touched family or very close friends. But somehow, it felt right. This strange creature was trying to comfort her. Over the next few days, Zira-eth grew stronger. Lisa took care of her, feeding her carefully and treating her wounds. They discovered that Zira-eth could eat some human food, though she needed other nutrients too. Megan came to visit often. She brought soft blankets and pillows to make Zira-eth more comfortable. When she learned that Zira-eth had trouble sleeping because of nightmares, Megan made her a small nightlight that glowed with soft colors. The darkness is scary when you're alone, Megan said. This will help. Zira-eth didn't know how to thank her. Among her people, such kindness was usually only shown to family. These humans were strangers, yet they treated her like she mattered. Ben taught Zira-eth about Earth, the human homeworld. He showed her pictures of oceans and forests. The Velkari homeworld was mostly desert, and Zira-eth had never seen so much water. It's beautiful, she whispered, looking at pictures of blue seas and green trees. Kyle was the most careful around her. He was a military man, trained to be cautious. But even he softened. When he saw how young and scared Zira-eth was, he started standing guard outside the medical bay at night. Why do you do this? Zira-eth asked him one evening. To keep you safe, Kyle answered simply. So you can sleep without worry. But I am not your family. I am not even your species, Zira-eth said, confused. Kyle thought about that. Where I come from, we believe that anyone who needs protection deserves it. Family or not. This confused Zira-eth even more. The Velkari helped their own kind. They had allies, yes, but those were based on deals and agreements. You helped someone because they could help you back. The idea of helping someone just because they needed help was strange to her, but it was also wonderful. Jack spent the most time with Zira. He reminded her of her father, who had died when she was young. Jack was patient and kind. He answered all her questions about humans and Earth. "Why did you save me?" Zira asked him one day. "You did not know who I was. I could have been anyone. Why risk your ship and your people for a stranger?" Jack was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because you needed help. That's enough reason. But what did you gain from saving me?" Zira pressed. "What do you want in return?" "Nothing," Jack said. "We don't want anything. We're just glad you're okay." Zira stared at him. Her crystal patterns turned a color Jack hadn't seen before. A soft purple mixed with gold. He didn't know it, but those colors meant wonder and respect. "Your people are very different from mine," Zira said quietly. "Different how?" Jack asked. "You are kind," she said simply. "Kind without reason. Kind without asking for anything back. I did not know that was possible. I did not know that was possible." Jack smiled. Being kind is its own reward. 1 week after she woke up, Zira was well enough to walk around the ship. Lisa helped her, making sure she didn't get too tired. They went to the observation deck, where there was a large window looking out at space. Zira stood there for a long time, looking at the stars. All 5 humans came to stand with her. "I sent a message to your people," Jack said gently. "I told them we found you. I told them you're alive." Zira turned to look at him, her eyes wide. "Did they respond?" "Yes," Jack said. "Your mother is coming. She'll be here soon." Zira's patterns flashed bright gold. Joy. Relief. But then they turned blue with worry. "What's wrong?" Lisa asked. "My mother is a queen," Zira said quietly. "She is powerful and proud. The Velkari do not trust other species easily. When she comes, she will have her fleet with her. She might think you hurt me, that you are holding me prisoner." Kyle frowned. "We saved your life. I know that," Zira said. "But my mother does not know that. She only knows that aliens have her daughter. She will be angry. She will be dangerous." The crew looked at each other. They hadn't thought about this. They had just wanted to help a dying girl. Now they might have started an interstellar incident. "Will she attack us?" Ben asked nervously. Zira's patterns turned dark blue. Sadness. "She might. The Velkari shoot first and ask questions later when it comes to protecting our own." Jack thought about this. Then he looked at Zira and smiled. "Then we'll just have to convince her that we're friends," he said. "How?" Zira asked. "You'll tell her the truth," Jack said simply. "You'll tell her what happened. She'll believe you." Zira wanted to believe that, but she knew her mother. Queen Varasin was fierce and protective. When she found out her daughter had been hurt, had almost died, she would want someone to blame, and the humans were right there, holding her daughter on their ship. Zira looked at Jack, at Lisa, at all the humans who had saved her life. They had been so kind to her. They had asked for nothing in return. The thought of her mother hurting them made her chest ache. "I will protect you," she said firmly. "You saved my life. I will make my mother understand. I will not let her hurt you." Jack put a hand on her shoulder. "We'll face this together," he said. "All of us." In the distance, moving through space faster than light, a Velkari battle fleet was coming. At its head was the Queen's flagship. And on that ship, Queen Varasin sat on her throne. Her daughter was alive. The impossible had happened. But the Queen's joy was mixed with cold fury. Someone would pay for what happened to her child. The Queen did not yet know that the ones who had her daughter were the very ones who had saved her life. That truth would change everything. The alarm on the Wanderer started blaring early in the morning. Ben ran to the bridge and looked at his screens. What he saw made his blood run cold. "Captain, we have ships incoming. A lot of ships." Jack rushed to the bridge, still pulling on his jacket. Kyle and Megan were right behind him. Lisa stayed with Ziraeth in the medical bay. On the screen, Ben showed them what was coming. 12 large warships were approaching fast. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Dark metal with those same glowing crystal patterns that Ziraeth had on her skin. But these ships weren't glowing with peaceful colors. They were glowing red. "Those are Velkari battlecruisers," Kyle said quietly. "Each one of those could destroy us with a single shot." "Are their weapons charged?" Jack asked. Ben checked. His hands were shaking a little. "Yes, sir. All of them. They're ready to fire." Megan looked at Jack. "Captain, what do we do?" Jack took a deep breath. He thought about running, but they couldn't outrun those ships. He thought about fighting, but that would be suicide. There was only one choice. "We wait," Jack said, "and we show them we mean no harm. Do not raise shields, do not charge weapons. We do nothing that looks aggressive." "Nothing?" Kyle asked. "Sir, if they fire on us, we'll be dead before we can defend ourselves." "I know," Jack said calmly, "but if we show any sign of threat, they'll definitely fire. Our only chance is to show them we're not their enemy." A message came through. It was audio only, and it was in that same musical language that Ziraeth spoke. The translation device worked to convert it. "Unknown vessel. You have something that belongs to us. Return Princess Ziraeth immediately, or be destroyed." The voice was cold and filled with controlled rage. This was someone used to being obeyed. Jack activated the communications. "This is Captain Jack Morrison of the Earth ship Wanderer. We found Princess Ziraeth in an escape pod. She was dying. We saved her life. She is safe and well on our ship." There was a pause. Then the voice came back. "You will prepare for video communication, now." Jack nodded to Ben, who activated the video link. The screen showed the bridge of the Velkari flagship. And there, sitting on a throne-like chair, was Queen Varasin. She was magnificent and terrifying. Taller than Ziraeth, with crystal patterns that covered more of her body. They glowed deep red, the color of anger. Her eyes were sharp and cold as she stared at Jack. "You are the one who claims to have saved my daughter?" she asked. Her voice was like ice. "Yes, Your Majesty," Jack said respectfully. "We found her escape pod 3 weeks after her ship was attacked. She was badly hurt. Our doctor worked very hard to save her life." "And I am to believe you did this out of kindness?" the Queen said. The way she said it made it clear she didn't believe it at all. "You expect me to believe that humans helped my daughter without wanting something in return?" "Yes," Jack said simply. "That's exactly what happened." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "Humans are known as scavengers. Thieves. You take what does not belong to you. You lie and cheat for profit. Why should I believe you are any different?" Jack felt a flash of anger at that, but he kept his voice calm. "Because it's the truth. Your daughter needed help. We gave it. That's all." "Then you will not mind if I take my daughter back," the Queen said. "Immediately." "Of course not," Jack agreed. "You can see her whenever you want. She's been waiting for you." This seemed to surprise the Queen a little. She had expected the humans to make demands, to ask for payment, to try to use Ziraeth as leverage for some kind of deal. "You ask for nothing in return?" she asked suspiciously. "Nothing," Jack confirmed. "We're just happy she's alive and well." The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then she said, "I will come to your ship in 1 hour. You will have my daughter ready for transport. If I find that she has been harmed in any way, your ship and everyone on it will be destroyed. Do you understand?" "Perfectly," Jack said. "But I promise you, she has not been harmed. She's been treated with respect and care." The Queen ended the transmission without another word. Kyle let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "That went better than I expected." "She still doesn't trust us," Megan said. "Can you blame her?" Jack asked. "Her daughter was almost killed. She's been missing for weeks. The Queen has every right to be angry and suspicious." In the medical bay, Ziraeth had heard everything. She looked at Lisa with worried eyes. "My mother is very angry," she said. I heard, Lisa said gently. But it will be okay. You can explain everything to her. You don't understand, Ziraeth said, her patterns turning dark blue with worry. My mother will not listen calmly. She will see me hurt and scarred. And she will want revenge. She will look for someone to punish. But we didn't hurt you, Lisa said. I know that. But my mother will see that you had me on your ship. She will see my injuries. She might think you caused them. No matter what I say. Lisa felt a chill. What should we do? Ziraeth thought hard. I need to talk to her alone first. Before she sees all of you. I need to tell her everything. Make her understand. I need to tell her everything. I need to talk to her. I need to tell her everything. Lisa went to find Jack and told him what Ziraeth had said. Jack agreed immediately. When the Queen comes aboard, we'll set up a private communication for Ziraeth, he said. She can talk to her mother before we meet face to face. The hour passed slowly. The crew prepared the ship for the Queen's visit. They cleaned everything. They wanted to show respect. Ziraeth got ready too. Lisa helped her put on clean clothes and made sure her wounds were properly bandaged. Finally, the Valkyrie flagship sent a message. The Queen was ready to board. Ben, open the docking bay, Jack ordered. Everyone, remember, we are respectful and calm. No sudden moves. Let them come aboard peacefully. The Valkyrie ship extended a boarding tube to the Wanderer. First came guards, tall, fierce-looking Valkyrie soldiers in armor that glowed with protective energy. They spread out in the docking bay, checking everything. Then came more guards. And more. There were at least 20 of them now. All armed. All watching the humans with suspicious eyes. And then Queen Varasin entered the ship. She was even more imposing in person. She stood almost 7 feet tall. Her crystal patterns covered her arms, neck, and face. Glowing that angry red color, she wore robes that seemed to be made of living light. Behind her came 2 more people, a stern-looking male who must be a general, and a female with gentler eyes who wore religious symbols. The Queen's eyes swept over the humans like she was looking at insects. Then she spoke, and her voice echoed in the metal room. Where is my daughter? Jack stepped forward. He kept his hands visible and non-threatening. She's in our medical bay, Your Majesty. She asked if she could speak with you privately first. Before the formal meeting, the Queen's patterns flickered. For just a moment, they turned from red to gold, the color of hope. But then the red came back. You will take me to her. Now, Jack led the way. The Queen followed, with her general close behind. The other guards stayed in the docking bay, keeping watch over Kyle, Ben, and Megan. When they reached the medical bay, Jack stopped at the door. She's inside. She's weak, but recovering well. The Queen swept past him without a word. The general moved to follow, but Ziraeth's voice called out, General Krothnix, please wait outside. I must speak with my mother alone. The general looked unhappy, but he obeyed. He stood outside the door with Jack, both of them waiting in tense silence. Inside the room, Queen Varasin saw her daughter for the first time in weeks. Ziraeth was sitting on the medical bed, looking small and fragile. Her skin still showed the scars of her injuries. She looked thin and tired. For a moment, the Queen's fierce control broke. Her patterns flashed pure gold, and she rushed forward. My child, she whispered, and her voice shook. Mother, Ziraeth said. She tried to stand, but her mother gently pushed her back down. Stay seated. You are hurt, the Queen said. Her hands touched Ziraeth's face gently, checking her injuries. I am alive because of them, Ziraeth said quickly. Mother, please, listen to me. The humans saved my life. The Queen's patterns turned red again. The humans had you on their ship. How do I know they did not cause these injuries? Because I was already hurt when they found me, Ziraeth said firmly. Mother, I was dying. I was alone in that pod for weeks. No food, almost no water. My wounds were infected. I had given up hope. She took her mother's hand. And then they found me. Captain Jack brought me onto his ship even though it was dangerous. Dr. Lisa worked for hours to save me, even though she didn't know how to treat a Valkyrie. She learned as she went. She never gave up on me. The Queen listened, her patterns flickering between red and other colors. They gave me food, Ziraeth continued. They made me comfortable. Megan made me a night light because I had nightmares. Ben showed me pictures of his home world. Kyle stood guard at my door so I would feel safe. And Captain Jack, he talked to me like a father. He made me feel less alone. Tears began to fall from Ziraeth's eyes again, those glowing tears that meant so much to the Valkyrie. Mother, they asked for nothing. Not money. Not favors. Not even thanks. They helped me because I needed help. That is all. Queen Varasin was silent for a long time. Her patterns shifted through many colors: red, blue, gold, purple. She was struggling with something. This is not possible, she finally said. No one helps without wanting something in return. They do, Ziraeth said softly. Humans do. They call it compassion. They help because it is the right thing to do. The Queen shook her head. I do not understand. Neither did I at first, Ziraeth admitted. But Mother, I watched them. They are good people. They risked their ship to save me. They could have left me to die. No one would have known. But they didn't. They saved me. Ziraeth gripped her mother's hand tighter. Please, Mother. Do not hurt them. They gave me back my life. They gave me back to you. The Queen looked at her daughter. She saw the truth in her eyes. Ziraeth had never lied to her. And Ziraeth was defending these humans with a passion that could not be faked. Slowly, very slowly, the red began to fade from the Queen's patterns. Other colors took its place. I will speak with them, the Queen said finally, and I will see for myself if what you say is true. Queen Varasin stepped out of the medical bay with Ziraeth beside her. The Queen's patterns had changed. They were no longer the angry red. Now they showed a mixture of colors that General Krothnix had never seen on his Queen before. Confusion, wonder, and something that might have been hope. Bring the humans here, the Queen commanded. All of them. I wish to speak with each one. Jack gathered his crew. They came to the medical bay, walking calmly but carefully. They could feel the tension in the air. One wrong word could still mean their deaths. The Queen stood tall and imposing. She studied each human with sharp eyes. Then she spoke. My daughter tells me you saved her life, she said. Her voice was still cold, but not as harsh as before. She says you asked for nothing in return. I find this difficult to believe. Jack met her eyes steadily. It's the truth, Your Majesty. We found her dying. We couldn't just leave her there. Why not? The Queen asked bluntly. She was a stranger. An alien. You had no connection to her. You could have avoided potential danger by simply leaving. Why did you not do this? Jack thought about how to answer. Because she was a person who needed help. That's all the reason we needed. The Queen's patterns flickered. You risk your ship, your crew, your lives. For a stranger? Yes, Jack said simply. The Queen turned to Lisa. And you? You are the doctor. My daughter says you worked many hours to save her. That you did not know how to treat a Valkyrie. Yet you tried anyway. Lisa nodded. I did my best, Your Majesty. I had to learn as I went. Your daughter's biology is very different from ours. But I couldn't give up. She was dying. What did you want in payment? The Queen asked. Lisa looked confused. Payment? Nothing. I'm a doctor. Saving lives is what I do. The Queen stared at her. Among the Valkyrie, doctors were paid well for their services. The idea of a doctor working without expecting payment was strange. She turned to Megan next. You gave my daughter comfort items. Blankets. A light for her nightmares. Why? Megan shrugged. She was scared and alone. I wanted her to feel safe. You are an engineer, not a caretaker, the Queen said. I'm a person first, Megan replied. and she needed someone to care. The queen's pattern shifted to purple, the color of deep thought. She looked at Ben. "You showed my daughter images of your world," she said. "You spent time teaching her about human culture. What was your purpose?" Ben looked a little nervous under her intense gaze. "I just thought she might like to know about us. She was curious, so I showed her. There was no purpose except to make her feel less lonely." The queen turned to Kyle last. "And you, a warrior. You stood guard at her door at night. Were you guarding her or guarding against her?" Kyle stood straight. "I was protecting her, Your Majesty. I wanted her to know that while she was on our ship, no harm would come to her. She was not your princess to protect," the queen said. "She was a child under our care," Kyle said firmly. "That made her our responsibility." The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone, even General Krathenix. She sat down. A Velkari queen never sat in the presence of those beneath her rank. It was a sign of treating others as equals. The general's eyes went wide. The priestess, who had been quiet until now, smiled softly. "I do not understand your species," the queen said quietly. "Everything my daughter has told me goes against what I know of the universe. People do not help without reason. They do not give without expecting return. They do not care for strangers as family." She looked at each of them. "Yet my daughter's words ring with truth. And I see in your eyes that you speak honestly. You truly did save her for no other reason than because she needed saving." Jack nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." The queen's patterns began to change. The colors shifted and swirled. Red faded completely. Gold appeared, mixing with silver and blue. She closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them again, they were wet. "I thought my daughter was dead," she whispered. "When her ship was destroyed, I thought I had lost her forever. I have spent weeks mourning her, preparing funeral rites, accepting that she was gone." A single tear fell from the queen's eye. It glowed brightly as it ran down her face. In Velkari culture, crying was the most private, most sacred act. Queens never cried in public, never showed such vulnerability. But Queen Varasin stood up and looked at Jack, and then she did something even more shocking. She knelt. The general gasped. The guards outside, who could see through the doorway, made sounds of surprise. Ziraeth's own patterns flashed bright with shock. A Velkari queen did not kneel. Not to anyone, not ever. But Queen Varasin knelt before Jack Morrison, a human captain of a small exploration ship. "You gave me back my daughter," she said, and her voice broke. "You gave me back my child when I thought she was lost forever. You returned light to my world when I thought only darkness remained." ADM. More tears fell. The queen reached up and touched her own face, pulling away one of the crystal formations from her skin. It glowed bright gold in her hand. She held it out to Jack. "This is a soul crystal," she said. "It is part of me. Among my people, you only give this to those who are family. By giving you this, I bind myself to you. I owe you a debt that can never truly be repaid." Jack took the crystal carefully. It was warm and hummed with energy. "Your Majesty, please stand. You don't need to do this." "I do," the queen said. She stood, but her eyes were still wet. "I must. You saved my daughter's life. In Velkari culture, that creates a soul debt. The highest honor, the deepest obligation." She turned to the rest of the crew. "All of you. You all played a part in saving Ziraeth. You all deserve this honor." The queen gestured, and the priestess stepped forward. She was carrying a box. Inside were more crystals, each one glowing. "These are from the royal family," the queen explained. "Rare and precious. Each of you will receive one. You are now connected to the Velkari royal line forever." Lisa, Ben, Megan, and Kyle each received a crystal. They held them carefully, understanding how important this gift was. "I came here angry," the queen admitted. I came ready to destroy you if you had harmed my daughter. I did not believe that kindness like yours could exist. I was wrong. Quote, she looked at Jack. You asked for nothing. Even now, when I offer you rewards, I see in your eyes that you do not want them. You truly helped my daughter, simply because it was right. Yes, Jack said softly. The queen's patterns turned to a color that Ziraeth whispered was the rarest of all, pure white, the color of transformation. It meant a complete change of heart and mind. I have been a queen for 30 years, Varasin said. I have ruled with strength and strategy. I have made alliances based on mutual benefit. I have never trusted anyone outside my own people. I thought this was wisdom. She looked at Ziraeth, who was smiling through her own tears. But my daughter has learned something in these few weeks that I have not learned in all my years. She has learned that there are people in this universe who are simply good, who help because helping is right, who care because caring is what they do. The queen turned back to the humans. You have taught my daughter about compassion, and through her, you have taught me. This is a gift more valuable than any treasure. General Krathnik stepped forward. He had been silent and suspicious the whole time. But now he looked at the humans with different eyes. I apologize, he said gruffly. I thought you were criminals. I was wrong. You are honorable. The priestess smiled warmly. I am Linamir, spiritual guide to the royal family. I sensed goodness in you from the beginning. The universe has blessed us with this meeting. Queen Varasin took a deep breath. Her patterns were now a peaceful mix of gold and blue. I wish to make a formal declaration. Here. Now. In front of witnesses. She stood tall and spoke in a voice that carried authority. I, Queen Varasin of the Velkari Empire, declare that humanity has proven itself worthy of our highest respect. Captain Jack Morrison and his crew are hereby named Brothers of Scale, Honorary Velkari. Ziraeth gasped. Mother. That honor has not been given to any outsider in 500 years. Then it is time we gave it again, the queen said firmly. She looked at Jack. This title means that you are considered family to the Velkari people. You may call on us for aid at any time. You have our protection, our friendship, and our loyalty. Jack didn't know what to say. He had just wanted to help a dying girl. He never expected any of this. Your Majesty, this is too much, he said. It is not enough, the queen replied. You saved my daughter. You saved the future of my line. There is no reward great enough for that. She moved closer to Ziraeth and put her arm around her daughter. My child has asked to stay with you a few more days, to finish recovering. I was going to refuse, but I see now that she is safe here. More than safe, she is loved. The queen looked at each crew member. You have cared for her as if she were your own. I see that now. And so I will trust you with her for a little longer, if that is what she wishes. Ziraeth's patterns flashed bright gold. Thank you, Mother. The queen smiled. The first real smile the humans had seen from her. It transformed her face. But I will leave guards on your ship, not to watch you, to protect you. General Krathniks, you will stay as well. The general bowed. As you command, my queen. Queen Varasin turned to Jack one last time. You have changed everything. Captain Morrison, you and your crew. You have shown us that there is more to the universe than power and strategy. You have shown us compassion. She placed her hand over her heart in a Velkari gesture of deep respect. I came here as a queen seeking her daughter. I leave as a mother who has found not only her child, but also new friends. Thank you. Jack returned the gesture as best he could. Thank you for trusting us, Your Majesty. The queen prepared to leave. But before she went, she spoke to all of them one more time. When Ziraeth returns home, you will all come with her. I wish my people to meet the humans who saved their princess. I wish to honor you properly before the entire empire." After the queen left, the crew stood in silence for a moment. Then Ben let out a long breath. "Did that really just happen?" he asked. "I think we just made friends with an alien empire," Megan said, sounding amazed. Kyle looked at the crystal in his hand. "All because the captain decided to help someone in need." Jack looked at Zira-Eth, who was glowing with happiness. It was the right thing to do. And somewhere in space, Queen Varasin sat on her ship and cried tears of joy. Her daughter was alive. And she had learned that the universe could surprise you with goodness when you least expected it. The week that followed was strange and wonderful. Zira-Eth stayed on the Wanderer as she finished recovering. But now she was not alone. General Krathenix and 4 royal guards stayed on the ship too. At first, the guards were stiff and formal. They watched everything the humans did with careful eyes. But something interesting happened over those 7 days. The guards saw how the humans treated Zira-Eth. They saw Lisa checking on her every few hours, making sure she was healing well. They saw Megan sitting with her in the evenings, teaching her human games, and laughing at her jokes. They saw Ben showing her how to navigate using the stars, his patience endless as she asked questions. They saw Kyle bringing her books to read, choosing ones he thought she might enjoy. And they saw Jack, who talked to Zira-Eth like a father talks to a daughter. Gentle, kind, protective. One evening, one of the guards spoke to Jack. His name was Torval, and he was the youngest of the group. "I did not believe what the princess said about you," Torval admitted. "I thought she was confused from her injuries. But I see now that she spoke truth." "You are good people," Jack smiled. "Thank you. That means a lot. In my culture, we do not trust easily," Torval continued. "We believe everyone wants something. But you want nothing except to see the princess happy and healthy. This is new to me." "Maybe it shouldn't be," Jack said gently. "Maybe kindness should be normal, not surprising." Torval thought about that. "Perhaps you are right." Even General Krathenix softened. He spent time talking with Kyle about military strategy. Kyle showed him how human ships were designed. The general was impressed. "Your technology is less advanced than ours," Krathenix said. "But you use it cleverly. You think differently than we do. There is value in that." On the 6th day, Lisa declared that Zira-Eth was fully healed. The scars would remain, but they were closed and no longer caused her pain. "You did excellent work, Doctor," General Krathenix told Lisa. "You saved our princess with primitive tools and no knowledge of our biology. That takes great skill." Lisa blushed at the praise. "I just did what any doctor would do." "No," the general said seriously. "You did what a great doctor would do. There is a difference." On the 7th day, Queen Varasin returned. This time, she came alone except for one ship. She boarded the Wanderer with a smile instead of anger. "My daughter looks well," she said to Jack. "Thank you for caring for her." "It was our pleasure," Jack replied honestly. The Queen looked around the ship. It was small and old compared to Velkari vessels. But it was clean and well-maintained. You could see the love the crew had for their home. "This ship has a good spirit," the Queen said. "I can feel it. You are happy here." "We are," Jack agreed. The Queen turned serious. "It is time for Zira-Eth to come home. And time for you to visit our world. As I promised. Will you come?" Jack looked at his crew. They all nodded. "We would be honored," Jack said. 2 days later, the Wanderer followed the Velkari fleet to their home world. When they arrived, Jack and his crew stared in wonder. The planet was beautiful. Red deserts stretched across the surface, but they glowed with crystal formations that caught the light. Cities built from the same crystal material rose up like sculptures. It was art and home combined. "It's amazing," Megan whispered. Zira-Eth stood beside them, looking out at her home. Her patterns glowed warm gold. "I never thought I would see it again," she said softly. They landed in the capital city. Thousands of Velkari had gathered to see the princess return. When Zira-Eth stepped off the ship with her mother, the crowd erupted in celebration. Their crystals glowed in waves of color: gold, blue, purple. It was like watching a living rainbow. But the celebration stopped when the humans emerged. The Velkari had never seen humans before. They went quiet, staring at these strange, soft-skinned aliens. Queen Varison raised her hand. When she spoke, her voice carried across the square. My people, these humans saved your princess. When she was dying in the darkness of space, they found her. They risked their own safety to help a stranger. They asked nothing in return. They showed us that compassion exists in the universe. They are our honored guests. They are brothers of scale. They are family. They are family. The crowd was silent for a moment. Then one Velkari in the crowd began to glow bright gold. Then another. And another. Soon the entire square was glowing with the color of joy and welcome. The humans were led to the royal palace. It was built into a massive crystal formation that glowed from within. Inside, everything was beautiful and strange. The halls were warm. Light came from the walls themselves. That evening, there was a ceremony. The entire Velkari council gathered, along with nobles and important figures from across the empire. The humans stood before them all, feeling very small and out of place. Queen Varison stood on a raised platform. Zira stood beside her. The queen spoke in her own language, and a translator device gave the words to the humans. Today we honor those who showed us the meaning of true compassion, the queen said. Captain Jack Morrison and his crew did not help our princess for reward. They did not help her for political gain. They helped her because it was right, because she needed help. This is a lesson our people must learn. She gestured, and servants brought forward 5 beautiful pieces of armor. Each one was made of the same crystal material that formed Velkari cities, but these were living crystals, bonded to soul fragments from the royal family. This armor will protect you, the queen explained. It will mark you as honored among our people. Wherever you go in Velkari space, you will be welcomed and protected. Each crew member received their armor. It was light but strong, and it glowed softly with inner light. Then the queen made another announcement. I propose a formal alliance between the Velkari Empire and Earth. Not an alliance of convenience or strategy. An alliance of friendship and respect. We have much to learn from each other. Priestess Linamere stepped forward. I have seen the future, she said. Her voice was mysterious and gentle. This meeting was meant to be. The humans and Velkari will do great things together. We will make the galaxy a better place. The council agreed. Messages were sent to Earth's government. Negotiations began for a formal treaty, but something more important was happening too. Regular Velkari citizens were meeting the human crew. They were learning about Earth and human culture. They were seeing that these aliens were not so different from themselves. Jack spent hours talking with Velkari scientists. They wanted to know everything about humanity. He answered their questions patiently, and asked his own about Velkari culture. Lisa started working with Velkari doctors. Together, they began creating medical knowledge that could help both species. Megan worked with Velkari engineers. They shared ideas and learned from each other. Ben taught Velkari children about Earth's oceans and forests. The children were fascinated by water and green plants. Kyle trained with Velkari warriors. He learned their techniques, and they learned his. Respect grew between them. One evening, Jack sat with Queen Varison and Zira in a private garden. Crystal flowers glowed softly around them. Your people are learning from mine, the queen said. And mine are learning from yours. This is good. It is, Jack agreed. I never expected any of this. When we found that escape pod, the queen looked at him. What did you expect? Nothing, Jack said honestly. I just wanted to save a life. That's all. Zira spoke up. You did more than that. You changed everything. Before I met you, I thought the universe was a cold place. I thought people only cared about their own kind. You showed me I was wrong. You showed me too. The queen added quietly. I ruled with power and strategy for so long. I forgot that kindness has power too. maybe the greatest power of all. She stood and looked out at the city. News of what you did is spreading across the galaxy. Other species are hearing the story. The humans who saved a dying alien and asked for nothing. It is changing how people see your kind. Jack stood beside her. I hope it changes more than that. I hope it changes how everyone sees each other. Over the next few weeks, something remarkable happened. Other alien species began reaching out to Earth. They wanted to meet these humans who valued compassion. They wanted to talk about peace and friendship. The Valkyrie alliance became real. Trade agreements were signed. Cultural exchanges began. Valkyrie students went to Earth to study. Human students came to the Valkyrie homeworld. Jack and his crew were celebrated on Earth. They received medals and honors. But Jack remained humble. We just did what anyone should do, he told the reporters. We helped someone who needed it. That's not heroic. That's just being a decent person. But the galaxy disagreed. What Jack and his crew did became a story told across many worlds. The story of how one simple act of kindness started a friendship between species, how saving one life changed the fate of millions. 10 years passed. Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of a new ship. Not the old Wanderer, but a beautiful vessel given to him by the Valkyrie. It was a gift for his years of service building the Human Valkyrie Alliance. His crew was with him. Lisa was now the head of the first interspecies medical program. Megan designed ships that combined human and Valkyrie technology. Ben led exploratory missions that included both species. Kyle trained the first joint human Valkyrie defense force. And Zira-eth? She was now Ambassador Zira-eth. She traveled the galaxy speaking about compassion and unity. She told her story to anyone who would listen, the story of how she was saved by humans who asked for nothing in return. Queen Varasin had changed too. She was still strong and powerful, but now she ruled with compassion as well as strategy. The Valkyrie Empire was different because of it. Softer. Kinder. Better. Jack often visited the Valkyrie home world. He had a room in the palace that was always ready for him. Zira-eth called him her second father. The queen called him friend. One evening, Jack stood with the queen looking out at the stars from the palace balcony. Do you ever regret it? The queen asked. Saving Zira-eth? It changed your whole life. You could have had a simple, quiet career. Instead, you became a bridge between worlds. Jack smiled. I don't regret it for a second. Yes, my life changed. But I got to see something amazing happen. I got to see two species learn to be friends. I got to watch barriers fall and understanding grow. All because we decided that one life mattered. Quote, one life did matter, the queen said softly. My daughter's life. But more than that, your choice mattered. You proved that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it gains you nothing, is always worth it. She turned to face him. You gave me back my daughter. But you gave the galaxy something even greater. You gave us hope. Hope that despite our differences, we can care for each other, that we can be kind, that we can be better. Jack looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human and Valkyrie ships patrolled together. Human and Valkyrie families visited each other's worlds. Children of both species learned about each other in school. All because one human captain saw a dying alien and decided to help. You know what the best part is? Jack said. It's not the medals or the honors or even the alliance. The best part is seeing Zira-eth happy and healthy. Knowing she got to live her life. That's enough for me. The queen's patterns glowed soft gold and silver. That is why you are special, Jack Morrison. That is why we love you. Because to you, one life was worth everything. And you were right. It was. Far below, in the city square, a statue had been erected. It showed a human in a simple ship's uniform reaching out to help a Valkyrie child. The inscription read, "Here stands a reminder that the greatest power in the universe is not technology or weapons or wealth. It is compassion. It is the choice to help when help is needed. It is the courage to care for a stranger. May we all learn from this example and make the galaxy a kinder place. And every day, thousands of Velkari passed that statue. And every day, they remembered. They remembered that kindness matters, that one person can make a difference, that doing the right thing is always worth it, and that sometimes, the most heroic thing you can do is simply care. This was the legacy of Captain Jack Morrison and his crew. Not conquest or glory, just simple, powerful compassion. And it changed everything.